Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad, and welcome to Thursday's edition of the MUFC Daily. So the PR tactics are working already. Manchester United started yesterday, and this is how they started. Paul Pogba put this headline from The Sun up. Pogba snubbed Ole Gunnar Solskjaer after Man United lost to Liverpool and shelves contract talks. Pogba says big lies to make headlines. So that's very interesting. He then comes back and says he only posted this out of respect for the club, the fans and the coach. Very interesting, Paul. If you love us so much and you love this coach so much, why won't you sign a contract? Because you know that this manager is a Frank Spencer in disguise. He's a calamity. You know this is a disaster and you want to get out of Dodge because you know this club has no intention of sacking this calamity. But this isn't about Paul Pogba. This is the club trying to show some us versus them mentality, some solidarity. But it continues. But Marcus Rashford, who I love so much as a footballer and what he's doing for starving children, I must say, he got in on the propaganda act. So this is what he had to say. I can't lie, you haven't heard from me on here because as a United fan, I didn't really know what to say after Sunday. I was embarrassed. I am embarrassed. Our fans are everything and you didn't deserve that. We're working hard to try and fix this. We have to redeem ourselves. Now, Marcus is a very, very good talker and he's got great people behind him. Now this is great because you can say, yeah. Now I quote tweeted and said, look Marcus, to be honest with you, basically, we need to take the, the plaster off, rip it off. In other words, we need to sack this, I'm sorry to say, this imbecile of a manager. But basically they're good words. I can't attack these words. But his employers are Manchester United and everyone's going to do this. This is an us against them scenario. This is the solidarity thing. And to prove this, the Man United account quote tweeted Pogba and said it themselves. This is all part of some plan, which leads me to believe that they never even spent 5 seconds considering sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Now people say people should lose, people should get sacked if you're manager of Manchester United and you lose 5-0 to Liverpool. I don't agree with that, by the way. No one should be kicked out from one game. Imagine you've won all the trophies and you just lost 5-0 to Liverpool. You can't get sacked. Now, maybe in Barcelona and Madrid, they do that, but look what's happened to them because of all the managers they keep on sacking. No. The reason Ole should go, because it's blatantly obvious that even if you play hockey and you know nothing about football, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shouldn't be Manchester United manager. He should never have been Manchester United manager. It's obvious. It's obvious he should have been sacked at the end of last season to give the poor lad some pride. One season he gets us third. The other season he finishes second. He could have walked away with this looking good and getting other work because of it and maybe done a decent job with some lower division clubs, although he did manage Cardiff and managed to get them relegated after buying lots of Norwegian players. So anyway, the red flags were there already. So there's no question mark whether this guy should be sacked. What's embarrassing about this whole thing, of course, is that pundits, not just fans, but pundits. And actually, I'm going to read you something Phil Neville said, because I want to get into that as well, because I forgot to react to that yesterday. I really want to read you Phil Neville's exact words, because this is important. And this is how deep this Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is a nice bloke and deserves to keep his job bullshit goes. Now we can't even talk about a manager being fired. Now, I forgot the name of the Scottish pundit who used to, Craig Burley, he said, let's get this out the fucking way. We're allowed as pundits to criticise players and say they're not good enough and say they should be sold. It should be the same as a manager, end of story, and I agree. Anyway, this is what Neville had to say. I'm sure you know the quotes, but I'm going to react to them. But Neville said, social media is an absolute cesspit for people that are just the lowest of the low. So basically, we are all the lowest of the low. Phil Neville thinks you and me are the lowest of the low, but I'll expand that in a minute. He added, "We live in an era where it's seen as quite normal to ask people to be sacked, which I find absolutely incredible. If we were in any other workplace and you walked into a shop and you said, 'I want you to be sacked,' I think you would be reported to the police." Phil, before I became a wealthy former Iron Apple reality star and I was producing and developing the first English-speaking dramas on Cypriot TV and acting, writing and directing my own plays here in Cyprus, I was a lowly co-op general assistant. And people walked into me and said I should have the sack all the time because I was stressed and I wasn't very polite to customers. Guess what happened? Let me tell you how many times we called the fucking police. None. Are you effing deluded, mate? You are deluded anyway. People don't probably realise that the things they are writing hurt families, hurt human beings. People that have problems in their lives, nothing gets done about it. This is not harassment. This is not trolling. These are people, right, let me be clear here, Phil. I don't think there's any more. Yeah, no, before I go into it, he says more. These things happen in football. He told the Miami Herald, "I think the sensationalism of everything now is just out of control. Yet it was probably a real sickening blow for everybody that's ever played, supported or been involved with Manchester United. But it's not as if United have never lost 5-0. Oh, well, that's all right then. Let's carry on losing fucking 5-0, you jerk. Anyway, now I am being toxic and a cesspit. Anyway, the only difference was there was not a billion people on Twitter thinking they knew best about this, and another. Another former United teammate, Steve Bruce, said abuse he faced as Newcastle, blah, blah, yeah. Neville added, now they're bringing Steve Bruce, right, which is a different situation entirely. But basically, if a manager isn't good enough, the fans who pay their fucking money have every right to say so. That's it. Neville added, Steve Bruce's case went beyond criticism. There was a form of bullying, disgusting behaviour, trolling, some of the most disgusting things I've ever read or seen in my whole life. You should come and watch this and I'll be a bit more disgusting. I'm not going to abuse you, Phil, and I know I called you a name and I apologise. That's me reacting. You see, Twitter and social media, Phil, and if I can just burst that bubble you live in where everyone kisses your ass and tells you you're the best because you played for Fergie's Man United, right? The people you're calling a cesspit, the people you're calling the lowest of the low, are not people who grew up in a fucking sludge mud hut, right? These are people who have season tickets. These are Old Trafford season ticket holders. And you're calling them the lowest of the low. Well, they're not, Phil. They're not. And by you saying that, you are the one branding toxicity at working class, innocent, passionate Manchester United fans. You are a fucking disgrace, Phil. All to protect your little man, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he's 3 foot and he smiles nicely and he looks sweet and cute. We're all supposed to let him keep his job, even though he's a fucking calamity, right? Let's be honest about this, Phil. You know it. You know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer should not be Manchester United manager. And you're trying to twist the narrative and make us look like the trolls and the troublemakers. We're not. The media are right about him. The journalists are saying it. The pundits are saying it. And lastly, us, lowest of the low, are saying it as well. Are we all just scum, Phil? And you and all the ex-Man United players are right? And we should just keep our mouths shut? No. I pay for merch. I have a right to have an opinion. People pay for Sky Sports and BT Sports, which that club, our club, gets the money for. And of course they make loads of money from the merch and the season ticket sales as well. So anyone who invests in Manchester United, either emotionally or financially, has every right to be critical. No one said anything, but he's not good enough and he shouldn't be in the job. You're saying we shouldn't be saying these things, that we want someone to be sacked. It's so disgusting. And if we walked into a shop and said, you should be sacked, the police would arrest us. No, Phil. No, you're deluded. And the reason you think that is because you live in a fucking bubble and you don't know what the real world is. This is disgusting. This is disgusting. They want to protect their little boy, Ollie. He should not be our manager. End of story. But you know what's worse about all of this? Apparently he's got 3 games to save his career. I think it's all bullshit. They had no intention of sacking him. They're not going to sack him. It's obvious, right? Unless things become disastrous. And things will become disastrous. But let's just pretend he beats Spurs on Saturday, he beats Atlanta midweek, and he beats City, right? I think City are probably easier to play than Liverpool. I think Liverpool are the real deal again this season. I said it at the end of last season. They're going to take it in turns. City, Liverpool, then Chelsea. It's going to be a trio of different people winning trophies each year. That's what's going to happen. They're the three big boys now, and we're way behind. That's why we've got thumped and spanked to Liverpool, because that's how far behind the big three we are. But Liverpool are on another fucking level, right? But isn't it funny? Let's say we beat all these three teams, Atlanta, Spurs on Saturday, and City. Unlikely, but let's say we do it. How many of you are going to be happy about that? You're not. If we win this Saturday, 80% of you are going to be depressed. Now, the 20% who say, I support this club for thick of it, and pretend they're holier than thou, they're going to start, you see, and they're going to make fun of us for being upset about it. But, of course, I want United to win games of football. We can't keep on losing. We'll get fucking relegated. So we can't have that. It's about the pride of this club. But there will be a little 10% of me if we do win and I see him going like that. You see, you spoke against us and look, we've done it. Like he did last year at Everton or the year before, whenever he did it. If that happens, I will be depressed. Of course I will. Because I know he definitely won't be going anywhere again. And he puts a little run together and this calamity of a manager flukes his way to another top 4, top 3 finish. And I know he's staying here and we won't progress. And Van der Beek's going to leave. Van der Beek and Pogba are going to leave if he remains as manager. So to protect this manager, we're going to lose all our world-class players, let alone never winning a trophy again. That's where we are. We're going to keep this man because he's a nice bloke and he's part of the United DNA, while everyone else who can actually make us great is going to leave. Comment down below. Let me know what you think about that. Because these are the facts as far as I'm concerned. And this is what's happening now. This club is a fucking laughingstock. We as fans are a laughingstock. And it's only going to continue. This has been the Let me say that again. This has been the MUFC Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. And I'll be back tomorrow with even more MUFC Daily. Until then, goodbye.